Hey Roman, this is Mrs. Skoglund. Just wanted to give you a little feedback on your summer assignment. So we're mostly going to be talking about this chapter 2 question because that's what you had starred, but I'll kind of reference some other things throughout the video as well. So to start off, in a body paragraph structure, which is what this kind of format is, the first thing that I look for is a strong topic sentence, and we want that to answer the question that was provided in probably just a sentence so that we know the answer and then you can kind of get into the details in the rest of the paragraph. I felt like, Roman, a lot of your topic sentences, this one included, didn't directly answer the question. So for example, this one you just say the 3 A's are important, but you don't really give me a preview as to how they're impacting the need for R-directed thinking. And remember, that was the question. So that's something that you'd want to consider trying to go back and maybe revise a little bit. Next, I actually look at the end of your paragraph for what should be your concluding sentence, because we want that to also tie back to this question and sort of signal to the reader that, the paragraph is over. I think you did a nice job with these, Romans. Sometimes they were a little bit wordy or unclear, but I do think you attempted to tie back to the question, and what I really liked is that you tried to say why it was important that these 3 factors or whatever the factor was is important for our directed thinking. So pretty good job there. Next, I looked at evidence. I think you have a good selection of evidence, so I like how you have in this paragraph in particular, one for Asia, you have another one for automation down here, so that kind of allowed you to develop the paragraph nicely. What I would encourage you to do, Roman, is to go back and really make sure that you are embedding or integrating your quotations cleanly. So for example, this one is okay, it says, while researching for the book, Pink met 4 programmers from Asia who were helping to write computer code, blah, blah, blah. So obviously we don't need the comma there, it's there's no pause, but I do think that flowed pretty nicely in with your own writing, which is what we want. The problem is, I noticed in some of your other paragraphs, like this one, you have another quote from the text. The left hemisphere, blah, blah, blah. So see how that one doesn't, and I forgot to mark that, but that one doesn't flow as nicely as some of these down here. So I would encourage you to just make sure those are consistent. Next, I looked at commentary. I think you have some really great moments with commentary, Roman. So down here when you're talking about automation, I like how you tie it back to the question into R-directed thinking. So that's why you say R-directed thinking is important because these L-directed jobs can be done by computers. And that's what we want. We always want our commentary to come back to the question. The issue is there were also some moments where that wasn't quite as clean. So for example, this Asia one, you just kind of say there's people in Asia willing to take jobs for cheaper. Well, where does that tie back to our directed thinking? Do you see kind of what I mean? So we want to make sure the connection is very clear. Finally, I looked at conventions and citations. For your conventions, I can tell you definitely proofread. I would just encourage you to watch out for these personal pronouns, especially you or your. It just sounds super informal. So even just saying what can't be done by computers is R-directed thinking that uses people's creative sides. And that really elevates the word choice and formality of your writing. In-text citations, you started out great, this one is perfect, but then for some reason down here you switched just to having these pages, so we just want to make sure those are like this one and consistent. I thought your R-directed activities looked good as well, and I thought this one where you watched this TED Talk was interesting. I've heard about this TED Talk. I haven't actually watched it, but it definitely seems like this guy was entertaining and definitely used story to talk about this kind of odd topic. So anyway, I just wanted to say I thought that was interesting and just wanted to give you a little feedback.